If you live in the UK, then chances are that you have or have seen a tiny box room in your or your friend's house. Well, my parents have one. This spare room in the family home, what was meant to be a guest slash spare room, is currently being used as my mum's walk-in wardrobe with a bed inside. In this video, we're going to be transforming this cluttered box room into this storage-filled multi-purpose bedroom. To start with, we have to take the measurements from the original room and build a 3D model in SketchUp. I started by drawing the perimeter of the room, then offsetting it by 150mm to create the wall thickness, then extruding upwards by 2.4 meters to create the wall height. Next was to add the doors, which were 800mm wide, as well as the window, which was 1.3 meters wide on the opposite side. For those of you that have seen British houses, you will have noticed that there are some semi-detached houses where the gable is above the first floor, and others where the gable engulfs the first floor and the dormers are added to create enough headroom for the bedrooms. Unfortunately, this room falls into the latter. Therefore, part of the roof protrudes into the bedroom. Once the room was modelled, I added the green carpet, shaggy rug, radiator and curtains. Next was the furniture. A single bed under the roof protrusion, a small desk near the window that's been used as a vanity, a large wardrobe, which doesn't quite fit and isn't the best use of space, and lastly a cabinet with shelves to the right hand side of the wardrobe. When I was satisfied with how everything looked, I took out all the furniture from the rooms so I can see how I can better improve the space. Now for the changes. I wanted to look at the bed first, as it's the largest piece of furniture in the room and has the biggest opportunity to maximize the space underneath. There are a lot of beds with built-in storage, such as the Nordly bed from IKEA, or even under bed storage bags, such as the Scub cases. But I thought there was a better way of maximizing storage that wasn't a standard bed frame at all. Companies like IKEA offer a massive range of drawers, cabinets, storage options that suit any style. While endlessly scrolling through IKEA's catalogue, I came across the Nordly chest of drawers that comes in a 4-drawer and 2-drawer configuration. This was ideal along the length and width of the bed. Luckily, I found these in SketchUp Warehouse, so I put them in position and they seemed to work really well. On top of the drawers, you can just add a sheet of plywood or MDF and screw them down to the drawers, as this will offer enough rigidity to support the weight of a single bed. But if you want a bit more storage, a custom frame can be built in the void behind the drawers, providing more storage for infrequently used items and more support for the bed. Because the room is so small, there isn't any space for a bedside table, but keeping your phone, water bottle, books, retainer under your pillow doesn't seem like the best idea. Unfortunately, there wasn't a product that fit in the space available, so I designed a shelving system using plywood. If you do decide you want this solution, a bit of drilling and screwing may be involved. I started with a 2.1 by 1.2 meter board. This is the biggest sheet you can find from B&Q. I then added the 150mm deep top and bottom panels and fixed them 500mm apart. In between the top and bottom panels, I added 2x4s for extra support and rigidity. The internal shelves were cut to size and fixed between the 2x4s. Now these shelves don't need doors, but I thought it would be nice to still be able to rest your back against it like you would the wall that was behind these shelves. So I decided to make a moving door system using French cleats so they can be easily moved around along the length of this shelving unit. Lastly, a simple LED strip can be added to the top of the shelving unit for an easy night light solution. On the opposite side of the room, again maximizing storage is important, but I also wanted to maintain a desk/dressing surface and a hanging rail for large jackets. I started with the Marm chest of drawers, as it offers a 6-drawer configuration that is 1600mm wide, 780mm high, which makes it a great height for a vanity. I chose a Colby worktop as a desk surface, as it's rigid enough and can be cut to size. The worktop is 600mm deep, but the Marm drawers are 500mm deep, so I decided to trim back the worktop to meet the 500mm depth of the drawers and save as much space in the room as possible. On top of the work surface, I added an 8 cubby calyx shelving unit. These have become quite common in households over the last few years, but they often result in more clutter. That being said, if you use the various calyx inserts, like the doors and drawers, it could look quite smart. To the left hand side of the mom drawers is a 4-tier shoe rack, which I'm sure isn't enough space for all of her shoes, but I think after 20 pairs of shoes, it's a her problem. Don't tell her I said that. I wanted to maintain the hanging rail for clothes, so I went with 2 forward-facing rails, which just fit the remaining 900mm space between the shelves and the wall. I began by fitting a sheet of wood to the top of the shelf and the wall, so I have something to fix the rails to. To finish up the section, I added a curtain to cover the rails, but you can leave it open if you want. Lastly, I added a vanity mirror and makeup organizer to the vanity makeup section. Once I was happy with the final design, it was time for the fun stuff. I plugged the model into Enscape. Enscape is similar to V-Ray and Blender, as it's a render engine. It's not necessarily better, but it's much faster at producing a final image, and in my opinion, the final image is pretty close to V-Ray's quality. Now that the images were rendered, it's time for post-production in Photoshop. I started by adding the trees in the window to mimic the garden, as well as the sky behind the trees for atmosphere. I then had to fix the shadows on the furniture by lightening them up. Lastly, I wanted the light from the window to rush in as it would when the sun is lower in the sky. So I masked off an area and filled it with white to mimic the sunlight and reduced the opacity to a natural level. All in all, I think this concept works really well in the limited space available, and I'm happy that most of the elements were off-the-shelf pieces, which makes these ideas easily accessible if you want to try it yourself. If you like the video, please subscribe to see what I do with my next project. Until then, take it easy.